Namo Phat, good morning. Thank you for joining me for a daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The third mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I vow to cultivate responsibility and learn ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society. I'm determined not to engage in sexual relations without love and a long-term commitment. To preserve the happiness of myself and others, I'm determined to respect my commitments and the commitments of others. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. Our Dharma lesson today is Patience, Energy, Interest by Ajahn Sundara from her book Paccuppanna, The Present Moment. Practice takes patience, energy, and a very deep interest in discovering what the Buddha means by greed, hatred, and delusion. Very often, the interest comes when we are at the end of our rope. It's not necessarily something that comes naturally. Many people come to practice because they have seen that suffering, limitation, and confusion are not the way forward. They've realized that they are living in a subjective reality and they don't want to carry on living in that kind of world. So the practice often starts with, I'm fed up with this. I don't want it anymore. I've had enough of suffering, of being confused, deluded, and angry. Sometimes we don't actually move in the right direction until we have been pushed by the sense of enough is enough. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be very subtle. Little by little, we accumulate an understanding about anger, for example, and we realize that the state of anger is not something we want to live in all the time, or part of the time, or even any time at all. Perhaps we come to know that the mind can be quiet and peaceful, and we naturally feel the quiet loveliness of the peaceful mind. This can come about through silence. Silence has a way of making us feel connected. We notice our mind is silent, and suddenly we are back at home. Much of the time, our senses are taking us out there. We don't realize that the world begins in the citta, in our heart mind. The senses and their objects are constantly triggering our citta. So when we are in turmoil, we tend to blame outside factors, people, situations, the world in general. When we bring the citta to a place of coolness and calm, we have a chance to look at our responses. We can begin to clearly see that what manifests outside is very much a reflection of our mind itself. It may take a while to see this clearly because human beings have so many things going on in their minds. It's a very complex inner world. We react to things twice over. We react once, and then we react again. We find ourselves trapped in reactions, but that's not our fault, as in fact there is nobody to blame. If we want to blame anything, we should blame avijja, ignorance. We can't blame ourselves for being blind. We didn't ask to be blind. We haven't invited blindness into our lives. The blindness just came along with us and our bodies and minds, so we can't really feel bad about it. That's why the Buddha doesn't make a big issue out of guilt. Instead, he draws our attention to understanding ways of reacting. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for joining me today.